I arrived in Berlin in 1946.
We went to Berlin the summer of 1965.
We arrived a couple of weeks before the wall actually began construction.
You know, I was born in Berlin, so I was born in 1962, 6 months after the Berlin Wall was built.
I was just a naive young kid.
Part of living in Berlin, the duty train really became part of your life because you're on an island in the middle of East Germany, and the only way to compete against the other schools that were in West Germany, like Frankfurt, Bitburg, and all that, was via the duty train.
I was in the basketball team, I bowled, I played softball. It got to be an adventure to leave the city of Berlin and travel on the train.
And you, of course, traveled on the duty train probably 300 times.
If you've been on the duty train long enough, you knew the trick. You could open the door from the outside even if it was locked.
You know, anyone that drove on the duty train with sports teams or anything, you know, you remember the train stopping all night and the Soviet and East German troops surrounding the train and coming on board and kind of creating a kind of an eerie environment.
And go walking home and there would be black watches in the bushes. These men like in long black coats with German shepherds and just watching.
See the German shepherd guard dogs walking up and down, and all the East German guards trying to look real important with their hats and their uniforms, you know, looking at you, making sure you don't do anything wrong, which we never did, of course.
Sneaking across into East Berlin as a challenge just to see what would happen. We got caught once. We got a minor international incident.
There were other things on the base that we also liked to do, which go to the teen club, which was called our AYA.
We would go to the AYA every Saturday and go dancing.
We were club monsters. We pretty much were known faces at all the clubs in Berlin.
At the same time in Germany was all of the riots between the skinheads and the Turks. And we would all get on the S-Bahn and head over to Kreuzberg or whatever and watch the Turks and the hooligans throw things at each other.
Berlin, obviously, even for forever, has been such a huge city, and it's a huge draw for the big name bands. I can remember going to Queen concert, Foreigner, Styx came through there, AC/DC.
Chuck Berry, even Chubby Checker when he was really hot. We had a chance to actually see the Beatles.
How just absolutely amazing it is that we're able to live history.
In '46, I remember specifically the stench that was in the city because of the rubble under which probably hundreds of thousands of people were buried.
Like when we first got there, we stayed at a place down at the Wannsee, and learning later that that's, you know, where Hitler and everyone got together. We drove through the Brandenburg Gate. I mean, I just got goosebumps that I'm in East Berlin.
Our school went to visit Nixon's plane. We greeted Nixon, President Nixon. And I said, and my brother got to shake his thumb.
When we arrived there, we were probably one of the few black families that had been assigned to Berlin. When we began high school there, we were the only black students in the school.
I can't even explain it. It was so unique and so special. And even as a black African American child, at that time there were only 5 African Americans there, and we were treated no differently from anybody else. In the early 60s, that was something that wasn't heard of.
And think of all the people that are still here and all the people we've had fun with and all the things we do. I didn't want to leave when we left Germany. I met so many people, I made so many friendships, and I had great, great times. I wouldn't trade being a military brat for anything in the world.
I never adapted to America, if you want the truth. So I never got over my military experience. I was always happier somewhere else.
I tell people that my experience in Berlin was probably the best experience of my childhood. I was one of the lucky ones that actually got to do all of my high school in West Berlin. And I got to tell you, I had a ball. It was the best time of my youth.